All right, everybody. Guess what? We're back. Sheltering in place again. And yes, I'm still wearing my ankle bracelet, even though I have not officially committed any crimes. So today, guys, we have, even though she has an E at the end, it's still pronounced Amber. So we have Amber Denis here. She is a total insurance ninja. She's a very nichey. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before, I want to say hi. How you doing, Amber?
I'm good. I'm a niche ninja. I like that. I think I might steal
Ooh.
that from you.
Everybody should be a ninja, especially when you're as good as you are. Are you kidding
Why,
me?
thank you very much.
That's awesome. So you and I have known each other for a long, long time. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you, because I know you've been awesome in the insurance business, but you do have niches, and that's really important because especially I think what I'm seeing now on the lending side is things are getting a little gray. Things are not so black or white or vanilla anymore. And so the insurance piece is very, very important. As I have a transaction going on up north, and the insurance, not a lot of carriers wanted to even touch this thing. But my client's in contract. It's like, okay, what do we do? Well, we call the insurance ninja, Amber, right? So tell me first off, how long have you been in the business? And then what are the niches that you cater to that you specialize in?
Yeah, of course. So I've been licensed for a little over 10 years and I started my own agency in 2012. I focus on hard to place markets, which can be anything from a cutting edge technology company
Mm,
to a California property that's high value. So anything like that. Anybody with claims history. And in the state of
mm,
California, with all of the fires that have been going on since
yeah.
like 2012, 2016, you're absolutely correct. It's been a lot more difficult to place policies. We call it the insurance market is getting hard. So it's becoming a difficult insurance market. A lot of the carriers have bowed out of the market to the point where the Department of Insurance had to step in to put a moratorium, not allowing any other carriers to bow out. So that's why
Oh,
you're
wow.
feeling that difficulty because the carriers that are left are very few. Hopefully
Okay. I
that'll
didn't
open
even
up
know
soon.
that.
It'll go soft again, but
Mhm. So, where do you think this is going as far as industry trend? Do you think that once the moratorium is lifted, that more insurance companies will decide to bail, or where do you think what do you think is going to happen?
personally, the on the insurance carrier side, they think there's going to be more that are bowing out of California specifically, and they're going to wait and see before they come back
Mm,
here. So it'll probably be a few years before we see the market for housing insurance for dwelling
yeah.
switch over, I imagine, just because the fires were so rampant and so so pervasive all throughout the state, north, south,
Yeah.
every.
No. Yeah. Everybody got hit. That's true. So, what are options for the people watching now? What do they do? What do you recommend they do?
Yeah, so there are still carriers writing basic homeowner policies. If you can go to admitted carriers like your Allstates and your State Farms and your Farmers, if they'll write you, they tend to. But once you become rated as being in a fire zone or a flood zone or any of the zones really, then you end up over on the surplus lines market, which is when you need a broker like myself, who
Uh,
has access to the harder to place markets. And
and those
right
are
now
called surplus lines.
they're called
That's the
surplus
technical.
lines. So
Okay.
they're, yeah. So the big difference is the state farms and farmers pay into the California Department of Insurance and they become admitted. On the surplus lines, they tend to be larger carriers. So they have more money in the bank and you look at their financial rating, but they haven't necessarily paid into the Department of Insurance system
Oh.
in each state.
So is that like
So
a little bureaucracy or a little good old boys club?
yeah, 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 yes. And I'm here as a female to take over the boys club.
Okay, let's do it.
But yeah, the surplus lines tend to be larger carriers, so they have a
Hmm,
lot more flexibility in what they can and cannot write.
makes sense.
But that flexibility usually has a premium cost associated with it as well. So if you can get into an admitted market, that's always going to be your first bet.
Yeah, now the premium is that usually what would you say is the percentage? I know everybody's different, but what would you say on average is the percentage greater than your standard policy that like an HO3 that you would get on a house?
Oh, for me, once you're on the surplus lines, you can expect it to be double at least
Okay,
for similar coverage. So it's
okay,
based on what the dwelling rebuild is on the building, and then of
right.
course all the other factors that go into it. But once you come over to my side of the fence, you can expect you're paying at least 25% more. But lately, it's been more like double. And even
Wow.
the clients that I've had for multiple years who are in flood zones or fire zones, their policies have doubled on top of what they were originally. So they
Wow.
came to me
So
because they
that's an industry trend anyway.
Yeah, this
It's
is
just
the
getting more
industry
expensive.
trend. This is what happens when the insurance market gets hard. So it becomes more difficult, which means they can charge more. There's less competition. So with less competition, that means the market goes up.
That makes total sense. Now, what's the difference between your company, for example, and maybe a consumer going direct with like, I don't know, like an Allstate or whatever, besides them being part of that group? But what's the benefit of coming to you as a broker?
No, that's a great question. So if you're going to an Allstate or a State Farm, and they're great, I work with a lot of those guys and girls because what they can't do, I typically can do. So we have a very symbiotic relationship.
Okay.
They're called captive agents, meaning if they're State Farm or Farmers, Allstate, all they can write is for that carrier. So you would have to go to the different carrier agents to get the different quotes. With
Got
me as
it.
a broker, once you're on my side of the fence, I have access to 300 plus carriers, and I'm
Mhm.
your advocate. I'm not getting paid. I mean, I get commission from the carrier, but I'm not on their staff. My job is not to make sure that they're taken care of. My job is make sure that both parties are.
It's almost
Right?
like you're a professional shopper.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
I
no,
like
seriously,
that.
because you're not biased. I mean, the same thing happened with me, as a mortgage broker, right? Now I'm not beholden to my company. I'm beholden even more so to my client because now I'm 100% unbiased. I'm going to different lenders. You're going to different
Exactly.
carriers, and you
Right.
get to shop it for best, obviously, rates, terms, right? In this case,
Coverages.
also the liquidity and financial status of the company. Because look, if they're not stable, they might give you a good rate, but then when you put in a claim, they're no longer existent. That's not going to help.
Right, exactly. It's exactly the same. So, although I have a responsibility, I have a fiscal responsibility to the carrier, I definitely need to make sure the applications are accurate and
Oh
honest.
yeah, me too to the lender. Absolutely.
But my main thing is to keep the client happy, to make sure that
Yeah,
I'm
take care of the
explaining
client.
what they're purchasing, why I'm making a recommendation, and to give options so that they can see what the options are. And because
Yeah.
I'm a broker, I have options as opposed to working for a particular carrier, which might be a really great option, but that's the one option you have
Mm,
if you're a captive agent. And sometimes that is the preferred option. Like I said, if you can get an admitted carrier, you always want to go that route when able, unless the premium is much higher, or there's some other factor.
yeah.
But once you get onto the broker side, the broker is supposed to be a client advocate. They're
A
working.
100%. Now, how often do you, because things are changing all the time, how often do you recommend people who have policies already r- review them?
I think you should review at least once a year. I tend to talk to my clients several times throughout the year. I work with a lot of business owners or property managers and owners who own multiple properties. So you'll end up touching the client multiple times throughout the year to see how things are going, but at
Hmm.
least once a year. The reason for that is, especially on my side of the fence, things change at least every 6 months. So
Oh,
different
wow.
carrier rates come out, different carrier options. Some carriers coming to the market with amazing rates because they want to buy the market up. And that might change next year, but for right now, it's really great.
That's
So
true.
they're constantly changing. So you want to look to make sure that what you're in is the best fit for you still because it changes.
Okay. Now you do residential, you do commercial, you do business, right? You do all three. Is that
I'm
correct?
focused on commercial side. I would say about 75% of my
Okay.
agency is on the business owner, whether they own the buildings or not, business owner and
Okay.
such. And then 25% is on those high value homes, flood zones,
Okay.
residential.
Okay. Perfect. My last question. How do people get a hold of you?
They say my name 3 times. They can find
and
me.
and and knock at your heels. Don't forget.
Exactly. I have a contact. The easiest way is I have a contact form on my website, which is crimsoninsurance.com. CRIMSON. Insurance is all spelled out. There's a contact me page, which sends me an email directly so that I can
Okay.
respond to you.
Perfect. So there you are. You heard it here. You have no excuses. Now go out and reach out to her if you want. Would you offer a free review?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Always.
Go out and do a free review with her. Let her take a look at it because she's super, super honest. She'll tell you either stay with it or go somewhere else, or if she can help you herself. So thank you so much for your time. Always valuable information. Take care,
Thanks.
everybody, and stay healthy. Thanks,
Bye.
Amber.